This is the Get Better Everyday podcast with Matt Gouget. Actionable advice from real life superheroes who, just like you, are in relentless pursuit of the best version of themselves. Whether you're just getting started or have been at it for years, my hope is that this podcast injects you with some positive energy to continue doing what brings you joy. Join me as I interview the best of the best in business, sports, and life. Let's grow together. All right, Matt Gouget, Get Better Every Day podcast with my buddy Jason Sharon. Excited to talk to him about, serving veterans, about the mortgage industry, about family, about all kinds of stuff. Give us a 1-minute intro, Jason, on who is Jason Sharon.
Sure. I'm a mortgage broker down in Charleston, South Carolina. I own my own company, have since 2018. Retired veteran, husband, dad, Christian. Big picture, that's me.
Sweet, man. I love that. I for some reason I've been getting in a lot of these conversations lately about serving veterans specifically. So that's where I think will be a good place to start. Granted, as you've got all the Navy stuff behind you and and the backdrop to Jason Sharon is that obviously served in the Navy, and that's probably where it spurred from. But maybe tell me in your own words, like, why serving veterans is such a passion of yours.
Well, we veterans are, I think, the most gullible demographic out there. We spent years being told, say yes or no, sir, don't question anything. So that, that gets ingrained in you. And whenever you get out or you're going to get into the financial world outside of the military, you're getting a mortgage or whatever, we're easy to prey upon. You get the letters, from New Day USA, from, General and so call today to refinance. And because they're leveraging some general's, name on that piece of paper, they give out really crummy loans to us veterans. It pissed me off. So I'm like, let's educate. And that's why I wrote my book, VA Mortgage Declassified. And that's why I do the webinars and stuff like that to educate. But I don't stop at just loans. I'm real involved in a homeless shelter here in Charleston. There's a homeless shelter that's just for veterans. We've got a great mission where we pull veterans out of the woods. Literally, we go out in the woods looking at the encampments and finding vets and get them to the shelter and get them vaccine if they want, get them medical, dental, get them in a bed. And then we've got 120 days to do all that, find them housing and find them a job.
I love it, man. I love it. Yeah. Whenever I talk, I'm not a veteran myself and didn't serve, but, have plenty of friends, obviously, and have served and helped veterans get into home loans. I often talk to people about it too, like the most deserving bunch. And I'd love to, because I've never heard anybody tell it how you have. And as somebody who does a lot of veteran loans, you see it more than most, for whatever reason. And like, I want to be careful with my wording here. There's certain retail operations in certain places where they can have thin margins on conventional loans, and then VA loans and also FHA, government products, they charge a bigger margin. And part of it is, lack of financial education or the fact that these borrowers historically just don't shop. And they're not as rate sensitive. They don't shop. And so, taken advantage of is a nice way to put it. I think that most of us would probably, have a little passion behind, like, that's just not right. I guess what I'd be curious to know is, what can we do as mortgage professionals? And then, beyond that, maybe financial services and other things to help, protect, vulnerable parts of the population, because I think it might even extend beyond veterans. And I'll just extend it to, people who don't happen to have as much financial literacy. They deserve to get the best products as well, whether it's, a rate on a car loan or a credit card or a mortgage. What can we do? And I know that you're doing stuff in the mortgage industry, but what do we do, as professionals across financial services to help, level the playing field for these folks?
I think it's education, right? You get to do it one at a time. with pre-recorded webinars, or like my book, or email campaigns. You just gotta educate, and because the schooling system just didn't teach people stuff, or their parents didn't know, so the parents didn't teach them how to be financially stable. It's just being the lookout, being the advocate, and being the educator.
Awesome, man. We'll keep sharing that education, because I'm aligned right there with you. With you empower people through education, and the best way to serve people is give them the education and the tools they need to make smarter financial decisions. That goes for veterans, that goes for all people in general. I'd love to hear, since we're on the Get Better Every Day podcast, what your plans are for 2023. And you can tell me whether it's a personal thing with family, whether it's mortgage. What are some things you're doing specifically to get better every day?
So I'm continuing to put my family stuff on my calendar. So, date night with wife, have dates with the kids, on the calendar. So that way, that in recurring appointments. So that way we don't go down the path of working too hard and screwing up your family life. I did a little fun thing. I just bought awards. You know how we get all the awards for in the mortgage industry. I bought one at Amazon. and bought some of those awards and made one for my wife. Wife of the year. My daughter of the year. My mom takes care of my 2-year-old. He calls her Mimi, so I got her Mimi of the year for 2022. You're doing fun things with the family.
Yeah. I know it's too easy to get really entrenched in it when you've got passion around the industry you're involved in. And I know it all too well, being in the mortgage industry. It's funny that as you're saying these things, my wife was like, laughing and joking about how all these things come in the mail. And I think it was in 21 where I got her a wife of the year, nice. Big glass raindrop, and making the family stuff our priority. I love that because, we talk about getting better every day, and I speak with like people who are winning at a very high level. I've got a buddy who talks about like whole life millionaire, and millionaire is not just like a number in the bank, but if like you're showing up as a great husband, or you're showing up as a great dad, like that is wealth. That is millionaire status. So I love that you got some attention to focus on that. And to the Get Better Everyday listeners, if you want to get better at anything, it just takes focus, right? And man, even this year, especially, Jason, like I wrote stuff down and I was surprised that I knew this. I mean, I've set goals for a decade, but I don't know, maybe somewhere along the lines, I forgot how powerful it was just to have something written down. And a little bit of shifted focus to where like, oh my gosh, I'm showing up better, whether it's health, whether it's family, no matter what it is, just because I said it or I wrote it down or I made it as part of my focus for the year. And, something that I've learned, and I think that the audience can learn from as well, when you focus on those areas that are important, the other stuff follows. When the wife is happy, my kids are happy, and we've got, a happy, healthy family unit, business goes better. I show up better as Matt, the mortgage guy, and I do better. So I'd love to maybe pull out something you've got, whether it's, like you talked about making awards, or what are some things that you've done to make sure that while you want to serve veterans and you want to educate and you want to run a successful business, how do you keep from getting distracted on the other goals and the other stuff that are personal?
I mean, I call it loan discipline. So like I made my own daily planner because I couldn't find one that I really liked. I mean, Win by Noon's nice. There's a bunch out there, but I just couldn't find one that made it, all encompassing. So like on here, I've got my mortgage stuff that I have to get done, but I also have here, family tasks, personal tasks, and like for the veteran shelter, I've got the spike for shelter tasks. So that way I can make sure that I'm keeping the day balanced. And, I look at it as, trying to keep the work-life balance. I don't try to do it a daily thing. That's just impossible. But I'd look for well-balanced weeks is how I try to make it, how I try to structure myself.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love when we actually talked about some tactical stuff, right? Where you write it down. It's part of your schedule, and you've got things I want to get done for the family, things I want to get done for health, and put it in the calendar. If you take nothing else out of this podcast and you're a listener, if something's important to you, show it that it's important by marking off 5 to 6 going to gym, marking off, getting something done to sign your kid up for this thing that is going to bring them happiness, putting Tuesday night to go hang out and have a nice steak dinner with your wife, who, in a lot of our cases, I think busy professionals, we've got wives that, do the hardest job, CEO of the casa, and making sure that the house is in order and whatnot. So that's awesome, man. What other plans do you have for the future? What is the 3, 5, or 10-year plan look like for Jason Sharon, from an impact standpoint? Because I know you're doing cool things. I know.
Well, long term, we'll move to Thailand. My wife's originally from Thailand. We own some property there now. We're under contract to buy a 40-room hotel in Thailand. Right now, should close August, September timeframe. So 5 years from now, plan is, so we've got someone set up to run it now. But 5 years from now, I'll be in Thailand, running the hotel, having fun with the guests, that kind of stuff.
Awesome. How many kids do you have?
3 older kids, 1 2-year-old, and we're plans for another one this year.
Okay. So those kiddos are gonna grow up in Thailand. That's fun, man. I'd love to dig into that, just because I get to live vicariously through some friends' adventures, right? So yeah, tell me what. Obviously, your wife being from Thailand is part of it, but what I guess spawned that idea and the talks, and talk me through some of that.
Plan was, before I met and married her, plan was for me to retire around 50. And just go travel, is what the plan was. Met her, those plans changed, but still I don't want to sit here at a desk for the next 25 years, and then wish that I, on my deathbed, wished I had spent more time doing something fun. So, there's a point where you can make enough money, you've got enough money to live, and you can really stretch that money in other countries. Thailand is one where everything's cost about 1/3 of what it cost here. I mean, you can live like a king on $2,000 a month there. I've got my disability, and I've got my Department of Defense pension. So literally, I could move tomorrow. I still enjoy America. I still enjoy doing this. I still have some other financial goals I want to accomplish before pulling the plug. But that's a big picture of just, let's go spend, the last 10, 20 years of our lives, 30 years of our lives, let's go enjoy each other and enjoy simple things.
Yeah. I'll pull something out that you said that resonated with me, where, 25 more years in a desk, and then wake up one day and realize, like, man, I'm 70 and I haven't gone out and had some fun. I'm trying to find balance with that right now, where, you can't take it with you. Your kids aren't young forever, and trying to create experiences and do things while we still can. Fun little side note, my mom used to fly for Delta. So 20 years ago, my early 20s, I did a bunch of traveling, and that's something that, is on my goal list this year, is get the passport for the kiddos. I want the kiddos to experience some of that fun stuff. So travel's in my future too, not to the extent where I'm, buying a hotel in another country and moving there, but it's, I'll be following that journey through Facebook or something for that. So that's awesome, man. I really like that. That's a really cool personal one, where we realize in business, it's not always like, how do I make $30 million to be able to do this? And then people end up chasing that till they're 90, and then it's game over, right? Like, yeah. What is going to bring joy and happiness and whatnot, and you've got a target. So how do you go about, I guess, something that big and life changing? How do you go about planning for it? Because I would imagine, most people, it's a big deal. It might be overwhelming, but are you approaching that kind of like something in business, where it's like, I got to do
these
10 steps?
Yeah, I've got a spreadsheet. I'm a geek. I should tell them make my own daily planner. I've got, everything I need to accomplish for that project, and then also everything I need to accomplish prior to, pull the plug and move into Thailand. We'll keep some property here. We'll keep, commercial building, probably keep that, probably keep some of the rentals, sell some other assets, but, it's all moving target. You make the best plan, but like, Mike Tyson said, you ever got the best plan until you get punched in the face.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing too, is every single year, I think you set big, lofty goals. You make it 70 or 80% of the way there. And that's a great accomplishment. Some of them you completely fail. And, I've had to cross off some things that my coach would call like big rocks, right? Where I got cute 3 big rocks for this quarter. I want to, that one just plans change. So, we'll see, man. That's awesome, dude. Any parting words, any advice for folks in regards to getting better every day? I love the tactical stuff where like, here's my day planner and here's what I do. I've got family stuff and I've got business stuff, but anything else for the get better everyday listener?
A couple things I do is, I get into the guidelines every day. If we're talking about more stuff, Mondays, Fannie, Tuesdays, Freddie, Wednesdays, VA, Thursdays, HUD, and Friday is USDA. Just spending 5-10 minutes in the guidelines, reading something that probably read it 100 times already. But I read it anyway, just to stay fresh. I get an email every day from Proverbs. So I read Proverbs every day, getting better, so there's a couple things like that I do in the mornings to make sure that my mind's, getting sharper, not weaker.
Yeah, I love that. I love sports analogies. So I'm going to use one here because I'm pulling out more and more basketball ones as my kids play basketball. But something you said was important, and it can be relatable to any business or anything in somebody's life. You're a loan expert. You know the stuff. You've read the handbook, but still you continue to read it every day, freshen yourself up, get better. Something new might show up. NBA players don't stop shooting free throws because they've been in the NBA for 10 years. They continue to practice and they continue to get better. And so, whether you're an NBA player, a mortgage broker, a real estate agent, no matter what you're doing, getting better every day, practicing and honing your craft is vital. So that's what I'm going to pull out of that piece. I love it, man. Thanks so much for joining today. It was a pleasure chatting with you. I'm looking forward to following along, the adventure to Thailand, and who knows, maybe I'll be a hotel guest of yours in a decade.
Hey, come on.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate you, man.